bastard, but he's the best.
Her line, she has 3 times with the movies, I hate that bastard, but he's the best.
She keeps saying it.
Right? Because it's the first time when they're discussing it and they call him.
Yep.
And the second time when he's like fighting Jeremy Irons or Lars Landa. And then even at the end when he kisses her and she goes, I hate that bastard, but he's the best.
Yeah. And then everyone just kind of puts their hands on their hips and shakes their head.
Yeah.
Those 90s movies, man. I gotta tell you, though, the villains in 92 were underrated. Tommy Lee Jones, Under Siege, Dolph and Universal Soldier, and Irons in this movie. Really good villains, action villains.
100%. 100%.
Now, so everything goes wrong.
Are we forgetting about Speed?
Yeah.
Speed?
Oh, dude.
Right?
The Hop?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he was so good.
That movie broke what a villain looks like and what a hero looks like to me.
Now, I have a question. Can I rank the sharks real quick? Because we've talked about the sharks, but I just want to give the listeners a kind of idea of all these sharks, because I think they did a great job of kind of explaining them. And do you mind if I rank them?
I want you to rank them, and then we're going to do a countdown from 3 to 1, and we're both at the same time going to say our favorite shark, and then we'll talk about why. Okay,
so wait. So I'm going to rank all the way down to 1, but then will you know my 1?
Oh, you're going to rank them in the way that you like them now.
Yeah.
I thought you were just going to go through what they were.
All right, well, let's do our number 1, and then I'll rank them. How's that sound?
Okay, so do like a Step Brothers countdown, best friend moment.
So we're just going to do 3, 2, 1, name of the shark. Okay, cool. All right, 3, 2, 1. Pickle.
Ferdinand. Oh, Pickle.
Yeah, I love that hammerhead. Like, that's my favorite one of all of them.
Right. I love the Bull.
Yeah, I mean, he was cool.
Yeah, Ferdinand. Like, so I liked Ferdinand because he didn't do much. He was kind of the background.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he did that jump at the end, like from one tank to the other, I thought that was the best moment.
And he bit off John Polito's head, Brick.
No, he sure did.
In the air. So he jumped from one tank to the other, and in the air, upside down, he bit off John Polito's head and landed in the other tank.
Exactly. And the reason that I knew this was from 92 and not 82 is because there wasn't a quippy one-liner after that.
Yeah.
Like, Dolph didn't say, like, don't go losing your head, right?
Everyone's jaw was wide open, which I think would happen during a robbery in a fjord in a bubble museum where one of your henchmen in a turtleneck, great turtleneck, just got decapitated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so give us the rankings of how you rank the sharks.
All right, so, I got to go with Pickle because that scene where Jeremy Irons shoots Pickle, the hammerhead, and Dolph cried. It's the only time Dolph has ever cried on screen. I mean, he dropped tears. And I think the animatronic, like what's the word? The practical effects. It was an animatronic.
Animatronic shark.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful shark. I don't know, man. Pickle, listen, I know Pickle tried to kill Dolph, but it's a genetically modified shark. You can't really train them too well.
And Dolph knew that going in.
Yeah.
But he loved them anyways.
Yeah. So even if they attack him, he's still just like, there's my boys. All right. Then I got to go with, I like Bull. I'll give him second. I like the name Ferdinand. Like, that's a cheeky play. Yeah. I thought Ivan was really cool, the tiger shark.
Yeah, that's the one you said at the beginning that I loved. Like, morning Ivan. Yeah, I like that.
Ivan was kind of the jerk, though. And I kind of liked that about. He was the mean one. Yep. Like, he had to be by himself. So I thought that was interesting.
If Ivan was played by a person, it would have been Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. That is perfect. Wow. And then Drago, I thought the Great White, I thought that was really cool. Also, I love when Drago bites off the legs of Yaphet Kotto for Stone. Like when he just bites those legs off. I mean, one bite and then his body and then they left the camera on that for a long time. We watched that guy bleed a lot.
Yeah, well, I think that it takes the attention off of so this is kind of the magic they did with the special effects is you get a split second of a shark and then you get the results of that, and that we remember. And you remember the shark was great for a moment. And then it was, after that, it was, the effect was lasting.
I didn't see it coming either.
No.
I thought Stone was going to make it because I like him, but I like that actor. And I thought his turtleneck was really great too.
Yeah. I think, okay, keep going.
All right, cool. I'm going to go with Apollo, the other Great White.
Yeah. So Drago and Apollo being their names, I must have laughed at 4 or 5 times during the movie.
It never got old.
No.
And I kept like nudging My wife Megan, like when we watched it recently, she's like, yeah, I get it. This is the fourth time you've elbowed me. But it's just, it's so, it's just so on the nose, but that's why I kind of like this movie too. It's self-aware. It gets this is a movie about an underwater heist in a fjord, in a bubble, with sharks running around, genetically modified sharks eating people.
So here's the thing. This movie came out in 92, when I think the industry took itself way too seriously. This movie gets released now, bigger than Sharknado. Bigger than Sharknado.
Because it's fun. And also, it was good. This is like a fast movie where people kind of go, oh yeah, sharks in Sweden, but they haven't seen it. And when they watch it, they're like, oh, that's not bad. But I think that's also what hurts it, is it's not great. And it's not bad.
But so it's close to being great.
And it hasn't gotten the press because of that. If a movie sucks, dude, like, Battlefield Earth, the Kerblongos banging on bongos, like those horrible lines, people remember it for being terrible. And when it's great, like I would say Speed, people remember it. It ages well. This movie just got lost in the shuffle, if that makes sense. Like with Passenger 57, movies like that, perfectly suitable action films that just weren't great or bad. And then I'm going to put Stealth. I liked Mako. But you just didn't see much of it.
No, again, it was that whole idea of like, off-screen sharks are more terrifying than on-screen sharks, right? Yeah. We know where he is. We can't see him.
The zipping noises were my least favorite part.
Okay.
Yeah. That scene where, Squiggly, played by David Arquette, was one of his first roles, the janitor. Yeah. He's in the office, right? He's in the water with Frankie, played by Stephen Baldwin, the traitorous partner of Dolph. Oh. I saw that coming from a mile away, by the way.
When he walked in and he had his turtleneck on, which was a subtle nod to like, I don't know where my allegiances are. And he had that like slick back hair and the glasses, and he had his little clipboard.
And a toothpick.
And he was kind of sucking up to Dolph a little bit. It was a little bit patronizing when he was like, okay, we got all and he was just like being super like over the top, like, whatever you say, boss, we got all the sharks here and everything's taken care of and it's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. I was like, that part isn't meaty enough for Stephen Baldwin to take, so it's going to go somewhere.
Why did he have the clipboard?
Well, I think it was just to show that like he had duties, like he was working for Dolph.
Got it. And clipboard, I guess, shows organization.
Yeah, like he's like, okay, we got Apollo and Drago coming in next, and then after that we're going to bring in Ferdinand. Ivan's being a little bit jumpy on the bus or on the truck, so we're going to get him in. We're going to move him up nowhere. Like he was doing stuff, but it was almost too like toothpaste commercially, where he's just smiling all the time and being happy. And I was like, his characters need. And when he pulls his glasses off at the end, and he's like,
"Yep,
Mitch."
Yep.
Right, and he just like he just says Mitch instead of calling him Mr. Because the whole movie is Mr. O'Connell, Mr. O'Connell, Mr. O'Connell. Pulls his glasses off and he says, "Listen, Mitch." And I was like, "Oh, here it comes."
Yeah. His death was great, though.
Yeah, no, his death was really great.
I mean, my least favorite shark killed him, of course. So the blue shark, got him. But I thought it was really interesting how the shark ramming speeded him in the back, then smushed him into the beautiful Canadian plexiglass, and just blood exploded.
So that was the moment when I said that shark isn't hungry. That shark is angry.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't like him, because I get why they're angry, but this shark just murdered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he was, because you always say in the animal kingdom, it's like, that's the nature, kill or be killed. And like, it's like the lady who jumped into the tiger cage at the zoo in Florida. Mm-hmm. And then the tiger tore her arm off. Yep. And then she sued the zoo. It's like, well, you jumped in the tiger cage.
Yep.
Like, you can't blame an animal for being an animal. You can't do that. But Blue is not being an animal. He's being a murderer.
Yeah. Did you hate how Baldwin kept referring to them as pool sharks?
Yeah, he kind of did that. Like, oh, they're in captivity now. And, these aren't like, he kept saying they're not like real sharks. They're like pool sharks, Mr. O'Connell. And whenever Mitch would have concerns, and he would say like, oh, these joints aren't exactly as specified. And then when Lou Ferrigno was like, well, it's what we had to do. It's what we could get in time. And they're as strong and blah, 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 blah. And, and then you get Baldwin, who's like, oh, Mr. O'Connell, they're just pool sharks. We've got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about. And
he kept shrugging his shoulders.
Yeah. And just like, because this is Mitch's passion project, mm-hmm. right? he did away with the life of like black ops military work, and he says, I want to do something good. I want to help these helpless sharks that have been abused, and they have been abused. Like that's the bigger picture here. This is right before Free Willy came out, so it's really people were concerned about like animals in captivity and like how are we, caring for them. So it was, I'm not going to say it was a political fuel machine, but there was a moment or two in there where it nodded its head in that direction.
Yep.
And he was just really downplaying it. He's really just kind of laughing it off.
And I've learned that I don't like watching people shrug while wearing turtlenecks.
Well, because the neck itself rides up into the bottom of the chin.
Yeah, it looks weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, hey, my brother asked a question, and he said that, what do you, he's like, so this is Dolph's most, like, feminist film. How, I thought that was refreshing in 92, because you think about Under Siege, that lady was just kind of a stripper, right? And then,
she wasn't kind of a stripper, she was just a stripper.
Oh, yeah, she was a stripper, yeah. It's like saying Hannibal Lecter's kind of a cannibal.
Right.
So, I thought, well, Universal Soldier, which we talked about in the pod, that character, she had a good arc. But I really thought Jen Lou Ferrigno and Alyssa Milano playing Dolph's daughter, who was just really there's so much in this movie. But I thought, even the the museum guests that were left behind, those sisters, this movie really, it wasn't like the 92 flick at the time. I felt almost like all these characters, it was like 4 Sandra Bullocks from Speed were in this movie.
So, and I also felt like we're in a world of like the action heroes of the 80s where they save everybody. I felt like Dolph put a team together and gave everybody a job, and everybody had something significant to do. They weren't just all helpless victims.
Yeah. And none of the females get none of the actresses get kidnapped. None of them are the damsel in distress.
No. If you look at Alyssa Milano in this movie versus her in Commando she has one line. She just says daddy through the whole movie.
Yep.
She just screams for her daddy. And in this movie, she when Mitch O'Connor looks at her and he says, it's time to go to work, she knows exactly what he means, and they get things done.
Yeah, and she goes, cash the check. I thought that was a great line. And remember that scene where Squiggly, played by David Arquette, and then Frank Whaley, he played Mars, which he also he was in Swimming with Sharks later, which I think is a funny little play on Frank Whaley. But their fight scene in the water, it's actually Alyssa Milano who lands the elbow drop on Whaley, like inverted. That's like my best way to call it. I don't think they had much time to rehearse the scene, but she helped out Squiggly, which led to Frank Whaley ended up getting his neck snapped. Well, he got his neck snapped by Dolph, Mitch O'Connell. But it was kind of refreshing, not just like, Squiggly was getting his ass beat, or, butt kicked, sorry. And she elbow dropped him, which I thought was kind of cool. You don't see that much in these movies. Normally it's them running away, so I thought that was awesome. Right,
but didn't Dolph do a lot of the fight choreography in this movie?
Yeah, so they had to cut budget, so they had to go expensive on the animatronics and they got good tax rebates from Bulgaria and Sweden, but you still had Jeremy Irons, who was a name at the time. You had Dolph. So this movie also, since it came together so quickly, once the script got greenlit, they had to get into action to film quick. So Dolph choreographed all these fight scenes, but he only had like 2 weeks to do it. And since there were so many different actors, I mean, Keith David, that is my favorite, person in this movie, Perry, and he actually lives. He actually kind of pulls reversal and helps Mitch, and then Mitch lets him go.
We never talked about that. Both Keith David and David Keith are in this movie.
Yeah, they play Perry and Juice.
Right.
Now,
and Juice actually gets shot by Irons in the end.
Yeah, which, but that's the one thing that annoyed me, because when Jeremy Irons is like, you failed me, and then he shoots him, he could have used David Keith in his fight with Keith David. So,
but my understanding when he shot Juice was that he wanted because he shoots Juice falls into the tank, and then the sharks are attracted to the blood of Juice, right? Because there was always that animal instinct of like, where there's blood, there's sharks.
Yeah, Paulo comes.
Right. That was actually one of the taglines in the movie, Sharks in Sweden, where there's blood, there's sharks.
Yep.
And so I think it was like, you failed me, he was angry, but also it was like a moment where he's like, I can make an escape here if I use this guy's blood.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's smart, and it does trick Apollo. And, I love the Australian posters that said Sharks in Sweden, blood money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good one, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. I guess, but I don't know. I just wish that Keith David would have had more Yeah. Oh no, David Keith. Like I like him a lot. I loved him in U571 behind enemy lines. I loved him in Major League 2. I just wish,